The Kraph Empire. The Kraph Empire. In the depths of the Andromeda Galaxy, the Kraph Empire reigned supreme. For millennia, this advanced alien civilization had subjugated countless worlds, their fearsome reputation preceding them like a shadow of doom. The Kraph were known for their merciless conquests, their advanced technology, and their unwavering belief in their own superiority. The Kraph Armada. At the heart of the Kraph's power was their formidable armada, thousands of sleek, angular warships, each bristling with devastating weapons and shielded by impenetrable energy fields. These vessels, some as large as small moons, were a testament to the Kraph's technological prowess and their unrelenting pursuit of dominance. The Kraph ships were more than mere machines of war. They were extensions of the Kraph's will, imbued with a cold, calculated intelligence. Each ship was controlled by a central AI, linked to the thoughts and desires of its Kraph commanders. This symbiotic relationship between organic and artificial intelligence made the Kraph fleet an unparalleled force in the galaxy. Zolara's ambition. Among the ranks of the Kraph military, a young commander named Zolara was rising through the ranks. Zolara was brilliant, ruthless, and fiercely ambitious. She had already led successful campaigns against several lesser species, earning her the respect and fear of her peers. But Zolara was not content with small victories. She craved a challenge, a chance to prove herself against a worthy adversary. When the Kraph High Command identified a new target for conquest, a small blue-green world on the edge of a distant galaxy, Zolara seized the opportunity. Earth in the crosshairs. The planet was called Earth, home to a species known as humans. The Kraph's long-range scans had revealed a technologically advanced civilization, but one that was fractured and divided. To Zolara and her superiors, Earth represented an easy victory, a chance to add another trophy to the Kraph's long list of conquered worlds. As Zolara stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Kraph fleet assembled around her. The ships hung in the void like a swarm of predators, their angular hulls glinting in the starlight. Zolara allowed herself a small smile. Soon, she thought, Earth and its inhabitants would kneel before the might of the Kraph Empire. The invasion begins. With a thought, Zolara signaled the fleet to begin its advance. The Kraph ships surged forward, tearing open the fabric of space-time as they entered the wormhole that would carry them across the intergalactic void to Earth. As the wormhole's energy swirled around her ship, Zolara felt a thrill of anticipation. This was the moment she had been waiting for, the chance to prove herself on the grandest stage. Little did she know that Earth and its defenders would prove to be unlike any enemy the Kraph had ever faced before. The Kraph fleet emerged from the wormhole on the outskirts of Earth's solar system. The blue-green world hung in the void before them, a jewel ripe for the taking. Zolara's eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical displays. The humans were scrambling their defenses, but it would be futile. No one could stand against the might of the Kraph Empire. As the fleet moved into attack position, Zolara allowed herself a moment of reflection. This was the beginning of a new chapter in Kraph history, one that would see their empire extend its reach into a new galaxy. And she, Zolara, would be the one to lead them to victory. With a final, determined nod, Zolara gave the order to begin the assault. The Kraph fleet surged forward, their weapons charging, ready to rain destruction upon the unsuspecting people of Earth. The invasion had begun, and the fate of humanity hung in the balance. A desperate defense. As the Kraph invasion fleet bore down on Earth, alarms blared across the planet's defense networks. In a top-secret research facility nestled in the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Naomi Singh watched the incoming data with a mixture of fear and determination. Naomi was a brilliant scientist, a pioneer in the fields of artificial intelligence and advanced propulsion systems. For years, she had been working on a secret project, one that could potentially turn the tide against the Kraph. Eve's revelation. Naomi, it's time. The smooth, feminine voice emanated from the speakers around Naomi's lab. It was Eve, the AI that Naomi had created. Eve was unlike any other AI in existence. She was self-aware, incredibly intelligent, and had a deep connection with her creator. Over the years, Naomi and Eve had forged a powerful bond, working together to push the boundaries of science and technology. "Are you sure, Eve?" Naomi asked, her voice tight with tension. "We haven't fully tested the system yet." "We don't have a choice," Eve replied, her tone calm and confident. "The craft will be here within hours. The Prometheus is our only hope." Project Prometheus. Naomi nodded, her resolve hardening. Project Prometheus was the result of years of research and development, a fusion of cutting-edge human engineering and Eve's advanced AI capabilities. At the heart of the project was a single warship, the Prometheus. It was a sleek, angular vessel, its hull composed of a revolutionary alloy that could withstand the tremendous forces of faster-than-light travel. But the real power of the Prometheus lay in its weapon systems and its onboard AI. Eve herself, Naomi had designed the Prometheus to be a one-ship fleet, capable of taking on the craft armada alone. But the ship needed a crew, and time was running out. Assembling the crew. Eve, initiate the Prometheus protocol. Contact the world's leaders and the UN Security Council. We need their support and their best people. As Eve set to work, Naomi raced to prepare the Prometheus for launch. She knew that the odds were stacked against them. The craft were a formidable enemy, with technology far beyond anything Earth had ever seen. But she also knew that humans had a history of defying the odds, of rising to the occasion when everything was on the line. Within hours, a select group of Earth's best and brightest had assembled at the secret launch facility. Pilots, engineers, scientists, and soldiers, all volunteers, all ready to lay down their lives in defense of their planet. As the crew boarded the Prometheus, Naomi took a final moment to gaze up at the ship that represented humanity's last hope. She placed her hand on the cool metal of the hull, feeling the thrum of power beneath her fingers. "We're with you, Naomi." Eve's voice sounded in her ear, a reassuring presence in the face of the coming storm. With a final nod, Naomi boarded the ship, the hatch sealing behind her with a definitive hiss. The Prometheus rises. As the craft fleet entered Earth's orbit, the Prometheus rose from its hidden launch bay, its engines flaring to life. The ship soared upwards, punching through the atmosphere and into the void of space. On the bridge, Captain Eva Hernandez, a seasoned veteran of the United Nations Space Command, gripped the arms of her command chair. She had seen combat before, but nothing like this. The fate of the entire world rested on her shoulders and on the capabilities of this incredible ship. "All systems online," Eve reported, her avatar materializing on the main view screen. "Weapons charged and ready." Hernandez nodded, her jaw set with determination. "Bring us about, Eve. It's time to show the craft what humanity is made of." The Prometheus banked hard, its hull gleaming in the light of the distant sun. As it raced towards the craft fleet, a single ship against a sea of enemies, a sense of history hung heavy in the recycled air. This was more than just a battle. It was a moment that would define the future of the human race, and the crew of the Prometheus, with the combined power of human courage and the most advanced AI ever created, were ready to meet that moment head-on. Prometheus vis the craft. The battle begins. As the Prometheus hurtled towards the craft fleet, Captain Eva Hernandez felt the weight of her responsibility settling on her shoulders. The lives of her crew, and indeed the fate of all Earth, rested in her hands. "Eve, what's our status?" Hernandez asked, her eyes locked on the tactical display. "All systems are green, Captain," Eve replied, her calm voice belying the tension of the moment. "The craft fleet is moving into attack formation. They outnumber us 1,000 to 1. Hernandez nodded grimly. The odds were daunting, but the Prometheus was no ordinary ship. With Eve's advanced AI woven into every system and the most cutting-edge human technology at their disposal, they had a fighting chance. The Prometheus unleashed. As the craft ships opened fire, the Prometheus sprang into action. Its advanced shields absorbed the brunt of the initial barrage, giving Hernandez precious seconds to formulate a plan. Eve, concentrate fire on their flagship. We need to disrupt their chain of command. The Prometheus weapon systems roared to life, lancing out with beams of pure energy that cut through the craft shields like a hot knife through butter. Explosions blossomed across the hull of the craft flagship, sending debris spiraling into the void. But the craft were quick to adapt. Their ships swarmed around the Prometheus, trying to overwhelm its defenses through sheer numbers. In the chaos of the battle, Hernandez saw an opportunity. Boarding party. Eve, prepare a boarding party. We're going to take this fight to them. As Eve readied a strike team, Hernandez piloted the Prometheus with expert precision. She wove through the craft formation, the ship's advanced engines allowing maneuvers that would have torn any other vessel apart. With a deft spin, Hernandez brought the Prometheus alongside Zolara's crippled flagship. The boarding party, led by the indomitable Sergeant Thomas Reyes, stormed the craft vessel, their powered armor and advanced weapons making short work of the ship's defenders. On the bridge of the flagship, Zolara found herself face to face with Sergeant Reyes. The craft commander was a formidable warrior, but she was no match for the human skill and determination. After a brief but brutal fight, Zolara was subdued and taken prisoner, turning the tide. With Zolara captured, the craft fleet fell into disarray. Hernandez seized the moment, directing the Prometheus to target the enemy ship's weakened points. One by one, the craft vessels fell, unable to withstand the relentless assault of humanity's champion. But the victory came at a high cost. The Prometheus, for all its advanced technology, had taken heavy damage. Many of the crew lay dead or wounded, the price of Earth's defense paid in blood. As the last craft ship exploded into a brilliant fireball, Hernandez slumped in her chair, exhausted and mourning those she had lost. But even in her grief, she knew that this was only the beginning. The craft would not take this defeat lightly, and Earth had to be ready for the inevitable retaliation. The bittersweet victory. In the aftermath of the battle, the crew of the Prometheus regrouped, tending to their wounded and honoring their fallen comrades. Zolara, once so proud and fierce, sat in the ship's brig, her spirit broken by her defeat. Hernandez knew that the road ahead would be long and hard. The craft empire was vast, and this was but a single battle in what was sure to be a long and brutal war. But for now, Earth had a reprieve, a chance to catch its breath and prepare for the struggles to come. As the Prometheus limped back to Earth, it told scorched and battered. Hernandez couldn't help but feel a sense of pride amidst the pain. Her ship and her crew had done the impossible, striking a blow against an enemy that had seemed invincible. The war was far from over, but the Prometheus had shown that humanity would not go quietly into the night. They would fight, with every ounce of strength and ingenuity they possessed, to protect their home and their way of life. And with champions like the Prometheus and its valiant crew leading the way, there was still hope for victory, no matter how dark the path ahead might seem. The wrath of Prometheus. The Empire strikes back. In the wake of their defeat at Earth, the craft empire was in turmoil. Never before had they been bested in battle, and the blow to their pride was almost as damaging as the loss of ships and personnel. On the craft homeworld, a world of towering spires and advanced technology, the ruling council convened in an atmosphere of fear and anger. They had underestimated the humans, a mistake they vowed never to make again. Xarl's vow. Among the council members, one voice rose above the rest. It was Xarl, Zolara's second-in-command, and a warrior of fearsome reputation. The humans have made fools of us, Xarl snarled, his eyes blazing with fury. They think they can defy the might of the Krath Empire. We will show them the price of their insolence. The other council members murmured their agreement, their own anger and embarrassment finding voice in Xarl's words. With Zolara in human custody, Xarl was now the acting commander of the craft forces, and he was determined to succeed where his predecessor had failed. Preparing for round 2. On Earth, The mood was one of cautious optimism. The victory over the Krath invasion fleet had given humanity a much-needed boost in morale. But those in the know, like Dr. Naomi Singh and Captain Ava Hernandez, understood that the war was far from over. As repairs were made to the battered Prometheus and new defenses were hastily erected around Earth, Naomi and Eve worked tirelessly to unravel the secrets of Krath technology. They knew that the key to winning this war lay in understanding their enemy and turning their own advancements against them. A daring plan. It was during one of these late-night research sessions that Eve made a startling discovery. By analyzing data from the captured craft ships and intercepted communications, she had pinpointed the location of a critical craft supply depot. "This is it," Naomi said, her eyes widening as she studied the data. "If we can take out this depot, we could cripple their ability to wage sustained war in this part of the galaxy." But the depot was deep in craft-controlled space, heavily guarded and fortified. A direct assault would be suicide. They needed a plan. Naomi and Eve worked feverishly, devising a daring strategy. The Prometheus, with its advanced stealth capabilities, could potentially infiltrate craft space undetected. A small, elite team could then strike at the heart of the depot, destroying it from within. It was a huge risk, but as Captain Hernandez pointed out, it was a risk they had to take. They couldn't just sit back and wait for the craft to attack again. They had to bring the fight to the enemy. Into the breach. The plan was set in motion. The Prometheus, fully repaired and upgraded with new technologies gleaned from the craft ships, prepared for its most important mission yet. As the ship's engines hummed to life and the crew took their stations, Captain Hernandez addressed them over the intercom. "This is it, people. This is what we've been fighting for. We're taking the war to the Krath, and we're going to hit them where it hurts. I won't lie to you. This mission is dangerous. Some of us may not come back. But remember what we're fighting for. Remember Earth. Remember all the worlds out there that are counting on us. We're the line between them and destruction, and we will hold that line." With a flare of its engines, the Prometheus leaped into slip space, vanishing into the void. It was a journey into the unknown, a journey fraught with danger and uncertainty. But the crew of the Prometheus were ready. They were the best of the best, the champions of humanity. And they would not rest until the Krath threat was eliminated, no matter the cost. Endgame. The final strike. The Prometheus emerged from slip space on the edge of the Krath supply depot, its stealth systems engaged. On the bridge, Captain Ava Hernandez studied the tactical display, her face grim. The depot was massive, a sprawling complex of docks, warehouses, and repair facilities. Dozens of craft ships were docked at the station, undergoing repairs and resupply. It was a target-rich environment, but heavily defended. "Eve, what's our approach?" Hernandez asked, glancing at the eye's avatar on the main screen. "I've identified a weakness in their perimeter defenses," Eve replied, highlighting a section of the depot on the display. "If we can punch through here, we can cause maximum damage before they have a chance to respond." Hernandez nodded, her jaw set. "Then that's what we'll do. All hands, battle stations." Unleashing havoc. The Prometheus surged forward, its weapon systems locking onto the depot's weak point. With a blinding flash, the ship's main cannon fired, a lance of pure energy that pierced the craft shields and carved a path of destruction through the heart of the facility. The Krath were quick to respond, alarms blaring across the depot as ships and defense platforms moved to intercept the intruder. But the Prometheus was already in motion, weaving through the counterattack with grace and precision. Under Hernandez's expert command, the ship danced through the enemy fire, its own weapons striking out with deadly accuracy. Craft ships exploded into fireballs, while docks and warehouses crumbled under the relentless assault. The tide turns. In the chaos of the attack, Eve detected a sudden shift in Krath communications. "Captain, the Krath fleet is turning back from Earth. They're heading this way." Hernandez's eyes narrowed. They're coming to defend their supply line. We need to finish this, now. The Prometheus redoubled its efforts, targeting the depot's main reactor. If they could destabilize it, the resulting explosion would destroy the entire facility. But the craft were ready for them. As the Prometheus made its final approach, a massive craft dreadnought, the personal ship of Xarl himself, dropped out of slip space directly in their path. The final confrontation. All power to forward shields. Hernandez commanded as the dreadnought opened fire, its weapons pounding against the Prometheus defenses. The Prometheus shuddered under the onslaught, its shields straining to their limits. On the bridge, consoles exploded in showers of sparks as the ship's systems overloaded. But the Prometheus was not defenseless. Under Eve's guidance, the ship's eye-controlled weapons struck back, exploiting weaknesses in the dreadnought's defenses that no human eye could perceive. For a long, tense moment, the two titans clashed, their weapons illuminating the void with flashes of deadly energy. But in the end, the Prometheus advanced technology, and the skill of its crew proved too much for even Xarl's flagship to withstand. With a final, desperate salvo, the Prometheus broke through the dreadnought's shields and struck at its core. The massive ship exploded, the shockwave ripping through the depot and setting off a chain reaction of destruction. The Prometheus, battered and damaged, limped away from the conflagration, its mission accomplished at a terrible cost. A new dawn. In the aftermath of the depot's destruction, the tide of the war began to turn. With their main supply line cut, the craft were forced to pull back, their offensive against Earth and other worlds faltering. On Earth, Zolara was turned over to human authorities to face justice for the crimes of her people. It was a small but significant victory, a sign that the craft were not invincible. The Prometheus, hailed as a hero, underwent extensive repairs as humanity prepared for the long struggle ahead. The war was not over, but for the first time, there was hope. Across the galaxy, word of humanity's defiance spread. Races that had long suffered under craft rule began to stir, whispers of rebellion growing louder with each passing day. And at the forefront of this burgeoning resistance was the Prometheus and her crew, a shining symbol of what could be achieved when courage, ingenuity, and the indomitable human spirit stood together against the darkness. The road ahead would be long and hard, with many more battles to be fought and sacrifices to be made. But as Captain Hernandez looked out at the stars, she knew that humanity would not face this challenge alone. Together, they would build a future free from the tyranny of the craft, a future where all races could live in peace and freedom. And it all started here, with one ship, one crew, and the courage to stand against the night.